Here at the Indo-Chinese Peninsula and in the southeastern region of Asia, Thailand, or Siam, is situated on an area of nearly 513,000 square kilometers and shares borders with Cambodia, Malaysia, and Myanmar. Thailand has 75 provinces, most importantly the city of Bangkok, which is the country's capital. Thailand's varied terrain layout gives it a distinct climate. It shares borders with the Forest Mountains and the Khurat Plateau, while its central plains are present in its inner regions, and the islands are situated along its coastline. Thailand is considered one of the most popular tourist destinations, with Bangkok being one of the most visited cities in the entire world. It sets itself apart with the beauty of its nature, its culture, and how it is able to effortlessly display a combination of modern, historic, and cultural infrastructure. Thailand has a population of nearly 69 million people, or roughly 0.91% of the world's population. The vast majority of the population here speak Thai. They have lived here in the region since the late 1300s. Thailand is home to many immigrants and their descendants, with many of them being from China and others from different parts of South Asia. While the majority of the population practices Buddhism, Muslims have a significant presence in Thailand, with about 7% of the population identifying as Muslim. They come here from Malay, speaking Bahasa, and are spread in the southern regions where they practice their worship, daily life routines, and rituals in peace. There are mosques spread throughout the different parts of the country, with 170 being present in Bangkok alone. They are all transformed into beacons of light and wisdom during religious occasions, and the everyday life of Muslims become more vibrant with the practicing of their religious and social rituals. This is Thailand. Among its beautiful landscapes and amazing landmarks lives around 8 million Muslims. They reside in the southern and northern regions because since the 12th century, the vast majority of Muslims in the south have migrated from Arabian countries and India as merchants and spread Islam in this country, and over time, they expanded. Whereas the Muslims in the north have moved from China, from Yunnan to be exact, and blended into the Thai community, guiding those who seek guidance to God the Almighty. Around the globe and all over the world, Muslims, wherever they are, await the holy month of Ramadan and prepare the groundwork for it, no matter their circumstances. Here in Thailand, Muslims also have their rituals and traditions for welcoming the holy month of Ramadan, particularly where they mostly live close to each other in nearby areas. Intimacy, love, and tolerance are common themes among Muslims in Thailand that distinguish them in a multicultural and multi-faith society. Their spirit and superior morality stand out the most during the holy month of Ramadan, to which they look forward to with familiarity and love. This month for Muslims in Thailand is a month to gather everyone around every day in the purest of places, in the houses of God that are spread across numerous areas of Thailand. During this holy month, mosques aren't just houses of worship, but also gathering places for neighbors, friends, and relatives. In Thailand, all Muslims are keen on having their iftar, or the breaking of the fast, at mosques side by side, and every single family prepares foods and desserts and brings them to the mosques, and the female volunteers from the neighborhood stand by a large table to place the various foods and arrange them, while the young men work on setting the table so that everyone can eat together as one family from what the wealth of God has gifted to them. Muslims in Thailand rely primarily on agricultural and animal products, so most foods contain either fish and seafood, or rice and beef, not leaving out the tasty and traditional desserts of Ramadan. Most notably, roti sai mai, which is made of flour fried with oil and shaped into thin strands to take a great place on the iftar table of Ramadan in Thailand. Muslims in Thailand consider the holy month of Ramadan a chance to gain scholarship and knowledge, and to immerse themselves in God's religion. And mosques are perfect places to hold religious classes, to illustrate and explain the verses of God the Almighty. In some areas, there are also centers for children and young ones to instill upon them the teaching of Islam and the sublime morals of the Honorable Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. In these centers, many sporting and musical activities and entertainment contests are held, and Muslims give charity and donation to these centers, which provide young Muslims the resources and chance to communicate with one another, work on self-development related tasks, partake in inventions and teachings, and working on collaboration and cooperation with one another, especially in welcoming Ramadan and the teamwork-based environment involving cleaning mosques and decorating them with fabulous lights. Most Thai Muslims spend the day during Ramadan tirelessly working hard, since work during this time, for Muslims, is an act of worship and an attempt to approach God. In the southern regions of Thailand, most Muslims work in fishing and collecting salt, seashells, and seafood. It's an arduous job that requires a great deal of effort during the day. Therefore, they cover their bodies entirely to not get dehydrated. Especially since working hours in Thailand do not adjust during Ramadan and remain the same. So Muslims try their best to wake up early, as shopping starts at dawn in many villages after having their final meal before fasting. Then they have to go to work all day long, working hard to earn a living, to return home later with the sound of the religious prayers and the recitation of the Holy Quran filling the air from the speakers scattered on the roads that are linked to a live broadcast from the nearby mosques in some villages to help prepare foods, drinks, and desserts for them to take it to the mosques and hand it over to the young volunteers who are responsible for receiving the food and making sure the dishes are distributed and presented to the worshippers as soon as the Maghrib Azan starts.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن
After having iftar, which starts with milk and dates, Muslims head to the Maghrib prayer. Then they continue their meal followed by desserts and fresh fruits. Then they gather around the imam to listen to religious classes and great pieces of advice until Isha prayer is up. Then Muslims stand in line beside one another to perform the Isha prayer and the Taraweeh prayers as well. Finally, after a long day of work, worship, and obedience to God the Almighty, they return back home. At home, there is more work waiting for the family members, who gather around with love and kindness. And so the family meetings take place, beautified with desserts, fresh juices, and setting the stage for a new day of Ramadan that are blessed and filled with love, joy, collaboration, dedication, and cohesion, as teamwork and helping others is a common theme during the days of this holy month. Answering God's command that states, "In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful."
وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان واتقوا الله إن الله شديد العقاب.
True are the words of Allah the Almighty. Ramadan's atmosphere is much more beautiful and wonderful when reaching the last 10 days of Ramadan, as a huge celebration is held for the Muslims in the community of the neighborhoods at the mosque on the 21st of Ramadan, the first day of the last 10 of Ramadan, the 10 of freedom from hell. On this day, a massive iftar takes place with the most mouth-watering traditional meals and fresh fruits, where they gather in the mosque to pray in supplication after finishing the prayer. And many spend this night at the mosque on a retreat known as Iltikaf, dedicated to worshiping and obeying God the Almighty. As this night comes, raising charity begins by the imams of the mosques to give away to everyone in need as Zakat al-Fitr, or breakfast aum payments, which complements the fasting as well. It begins, and all this money is distributed evenly to poor families, who also give to charity by working hard all month in serving the fasters in the houses of God, and offering all they can to the mass iftar meal, which gathers all Muslims at once in the house of God. Just like the preparations for Ramadan, so are the ones for Eid al-Fitr. The most gorgeous custom is when kids start to chant the wonderful religious hymns and buy traditional clothes to stand next to their fathers in the Eid prayer, where they gather up and congratulate each other on Eid al-Fitr. This preparation atmosphere for the Eid and the joy drawn on the children's faces are what lessen the griefs in Muslims' heart in Thailand, forbidding the holy month farewell. The month of welfare, blessings, and mercy. The month of Ramadan in which God the Almighty revealed guidance. It is the most glorious and precious one to Muslims' hearts in all places. Here comes the end of this episode. We bid you farewell to meet you tomorrow, God willing, with a new episode from Ramadan in the Islamic world.